Hi, Gregory Adamson. Welcome back to another First Strokes video series of lessons I'm doing, short videos to help painters, especially newer painters, get started and get through some of the challenges that we have early on in our painting lives. So today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about what goes on between our ears up here. There's so much talk these days about mindset and mindfulness, and there's all that sort of psycho gobbledygook stuff around this subject. And I'm not dismissing it, by the way, but it comes down to controlling our thoughts. And as artists or people that want to become artists, we're really good at talking ourselves out of things. We have, a lot of us have these, I always call it the committee in our head that tells us, you're not talented, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you'll embarrass yourself, you have no ability, you're not creative, you're not meant to be an artist, this isn't for you. And we let those tapes play in our head. And it can be tough to change our mindset, to give ourselves some new tapes to listen to. That are more affirming and that are more positive. And as painters, we have what's called resistance, which that keeps us from doing our work, from getting into it, or even starting in the first place. And it comes down to really just needing to start telling ourselves a different story, because it doesn't change overnight. I've always told artists in my classes, I've said, sometimes it's about being afraid or being apprehensive and then just doing it anyway. And that's what we want to do as painters. We want, regardless of what we hear in our heads, we want to do this anyway, because there was something that attracted us to becoming painters in the first place. And we have to just stop listening to those voices and that committee, as I call it. And one way we get there is by starting to tell ourselves affirmations. And even if you have to write it on the mirror in your bathroom to tell yourself every day, that's not a bad idea. Or put it on a piece of paper that you see when you get up in the morning that says, today I'm creative, today I'm an artist, today I'm inspired, today I have abilities, today I will be creative, today I will create great work, today I'll be proud of myself for becoming a painter. And you could create any different number of them to reaffirm yourself, and then say them out loud to yourself every day. And even have it in your studio and say them to yourself before you start to paint, if you have a studio or wherever you work in your house. Just constantly putting new data into your mind, because over time, what we can do is we can train ourselves to think that way, to where now we have a committee that tells us that we're good, that tells us that we can, that reaffirms us rather than the negative, just by reprogramming our thoughts. Our thoughts, I've always been suspect to people that says you can control your thoughts, because it's hard. It's not easy. And I know meditation and all those sorts of things people use, but really it comes down to deciding: are we going to listen to the negative talk in our heads, or are we going to replace it? Are we going to start telling ourselves a different story? And just starts on day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and every day thereafter, starting to tell yourself that different story. And I know sometimes when we're working in our studio, it's easy to get discouraged because maybe things aren't going so well. And some days when we're painters, some days everything just comes easy. It just, for whatever reason, it just flows onto the canvas, and it just seems like, wow, it's almost like I've been doing this forever because it's so easy. And then other days, for no apparent reason, everything's a struggle. Nothing goes right. And those days are just as important in your life and your progress as a painter as are the days when everything works. Because what we learn from the days when it isn't working is we learn to push through. We learn to be perseverant, because perseverance is just absolutely essential to becoming an artist. You know, your work ethic is so important. And, you know, it's like anything worth doing, anything worth learning and becoming good at, you know, the amount of work you put into it is going to be directly in relationship to what you get out of it. So there's no replacement for that. And some days you don't feel it. And when you don't feel it, do it anyway. Something will happen. It might be terrible. Often it is. Often it is for me. but I learn something every time. I make mistakes. And some people say, there are no mistakes in art. Whoever said that? I think Bob Ross said that because he said, we just have happy accidents. I will tell you right now, straight up front as a painter, as a professional for 20 years, not all mistakes are happy accidents. They're not all happy accidents, but we learn from them. So it's kind of like what Nelson Mandela said, the great Nelson Mandela. He said, there's no lose. We win or we learn. And that's how I like to look at the mistakes I make as a painter, the paintings that fail. Because yes, if you make mistakes, the painting fails. Regardless of what some people try to tell themselves. But what we do with the paintings that fail is we learn from them, so we don't fail. Maybe the painting failed, but we didn't fail because we learned something from the process. And I'll just show you, some days, you know, some days you work and things are just, you know, things are go okay. You're just getting a nice, you know, you get some nice work that you're kind of happy with. And some days not quite as happy, some days better than others. And then some days you get this and you go, what the, you know, and you paint all day and you just have stuff like this to show for it. And you're thinking, why did nothing work today? Why did everything seem to end up like this today? Well, you know, it's not a successful painting, but I learned something. I learned, you know what? I don't want to make pink paintings, but you know, there is knowledge to be gained from every success, but there's also knowledge to be gained from every failure. And if you haven't failed a lot as a painter, you haven't made a lot of bad paintings, and then you know you haven't tried enough. You haven't taken enough risk, because sometimes you take risk and you get this kind of stuff, and then sometimes you get a payoff. Sometimes you get a breakthrough. You say, well, this painting isn't working, but I've learned something today from this that I think I can use this to make a better painting tomorrow. And that's the process. It's the yin and the yang and the push and the pull as painters that, you know, that we deal with. We go back and forth, and it's not a straight line to the top. Success isn't that way as a painter or anything else in life, unless you're just a complete freak of nature. But for most of us mere mortal people, success is not a straight line. There are bumps and bruises and ups and downs. And as an artist and an aspiring artist, we just learn to embrace it all. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the experience. It's all feeding our increasing level of knowledge as we keep working and working and working. And eventually we become experienced enough, and we have enough success, however we define that, to where we end up making videos trying to help other artists in their journey, like I'm doing now. So I hope this is helpful to you. Maybe there wasn't any breakthrough here for you today, but I think this is really good information. Change the tapes that play in your head. Start replacing the things that tell you what you can't do. Start replacing them with deliberate, intentional self-talk about what you can do and what abilities you have. And you'll start to see that take form and shape into the work that you create. So I hope this was helpful. I really appreciate you watching these First Strokes videos. If you do find them helpful, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and please share them. Share them with your friends, okay? I look forward to seeing you on the next one real soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye.